All right, today we are watching a program called Strengthening Indo-Oman Amity. Strengthening Indo-Oman Amity. And this is by the Ministry of Information Films Division, published all the way back. It says published in 1993, but I really doubt that. I have a feeling this is 60s, 50s, maybe even 40s, but I think 60s, 50s maybe. Based on who made this, the Ministry of Information, this is going to be another Indian-produced program. So this should be another fun trip into Indian geopolitics. And we'll get to see how India maneuvers itself as a political entity. This should be very interesting. So let's dive in, shall we? Oh, I feel like I should mention that it's been probably about 3 weeks to a month since I've last recorded anything for this channel, so I might be a little rusty, but hang in there with me, all right? Here we go. What is this? Right here, right? All right, Strengthening Indo-Omani Amity. Here we go. Okay, that was like an absolutely awesome intro sequence. That is so much more than what's usually in these Ministry of Films programs. That was a very enjoyable little animation. There were so many things happening. There were so many shapes. There were so many images. Is this still the same company? This might be from the 90s. It just has such a scratched film feel that it feels like way before the 90s. But that animation, I don't know, that was definitely a lot more modern than most of the other Ministry of Information programs we've watched so far. So even that alone, that is showing us that this is coming from a slightly different period in India's history. Like, oh man, I wish I could just stop on every single one of these frames and just like unpack it. Like, oh, India's like a nuclear program, all these people. There's so much to unpack in this like 1 second. But I know that would take all day. So let's just keep going. The music though, oh, the music is so good as well. Like this is high energy Indian music. That is like what we are lacking in almost all of these things. Most of the programs from India have like really calm, subdued Indian music, but this is definitely high energy. And then it says Indian News Magazine. So this must be the program that's just produced regularly for people to consume and learn the news through. That's interesting. So we should get just an average look at this event. Oh yeah, here we go, Films Division. So this might be like a much more recent addition to the Film Division catalog because this, I don't know, it said 1993 and I really doubted that, but like, this is way different than most of the other Indian programs we've watched. Like, this is way more advanced. So I don't know. It would blow my mind if this was actually made in 1993. Okay, there we go. Strengthening Indo-Oman Amity. I'm so curious what the importance of Indo-Omani relations was. You know, why did India find it so important to preserve or strengthen their Indo-Oman amity? Like, what is... I don't know, I'm so curious. I'm so curious as to the purpose of this mission right now. I mean, I guess they're neighbors. I guess it just always makes sense to be friends with your neighbors, but like, I feel like there's something targeted with this whole program. So let's see. Oh man, is that Oman from the air or is that India? Can anyone from India tell me what part of India this is? Some of you could be able to figure it out, I bet. Based on these shots, these are like, I don't know, Rainbolt can figure that out for sure. Oh, there we go. There's the two flags. So that is the Oman flag and the Indian flags flying side by side. So this is a very, you know, cut and dry diplomatic mission, it seems like.
Kyiv International Airport, Muscat.
The National Airport at Muscat. Oh, I love that. I love how they started zoomed in on the flags and zoomed out to reveal to us these characters waiting for the Indian plane to arrive. I like that a lot. I also like what they're wearing. This is already so interesting. I love the attire everyone's wearing to greet the Indians as they arrive. This is cool.
14th June 1993.
14th June 1993. Wow, this really is... No way. This is by far the most recent thing I've ever watched on this channel. That is so funny because it still has such an old film style to it. That's so funny that this is from 1993. I can't believe that. Like, I really just did not. I thought it was wrong. I thought I was more knowledgeable than this, but I guess not. Wow. Okay, so this is Oman in 1993. Dang, this might be like the most modern program I watch like on this channel in general for the entire run. Like I don't think I have anything else from the 90s even. Like I don't think I've purposefully included anything from the 90s. So this is a very recent look at this part of the world actually. It's amazing how old everything looks though, like the clothes everyone's wearing, the plane even, like all the technology everywhere. This is still like historic times to me. I still wasn't born yet, so this is still history to me.
The Prime Minister of India, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, arrives on a 2-day official visit to the Sultanate of Oman.
Dang, I'm so curious about the outfits they're wearing because I feel like I'm familiar with this sort of clothing, but this looks like what the chairmen of China now wear, right? Like the collar that's not like folded or anything. This looks like a chairman's outfit. I'm curious about the origin of that fashion. Because everyone else is wearing like westernized suits, except for what seems to be like the big dogs, right? The big guys in the middle are wearing like the chairman Mao or the chairman, Xi Jinping sweaters or shirts or whatever, but everyone else is wearing suits. So again, it's a curious assortment of fashion right here.
The Indian Prime Minister is accorded a ceremonial welcome.
Oh, this is the Indian Prime Minister? Wow, I feel like I should know him, but I don't.
By the Omani Deputy Prime Minister for Legal Affairs, Syed Fahd bin Mahmood Al Sayed. Mr. Rao is accompanied by the Minister of State for External Affairs, Mr. R.L. Bhatia, the Minister of State for Commerce, Mr. Kamaluddin Ahmed, and other high-ranking officials.
So this was like a really important diplomatic trip, it seems like. If you brought like the secretary, the Secretary of Defense or somebody, like this seems like more than just a friendly visit on your way back home or something. Like this seems like they had a purpose. Like what's the purpose of this diplomatic mission? Well, like what are we trying to accomplish here? I also think it's so interesting seeing all these guys with the cameras and everything. This is just like, oh man, this is such a perfect intersection of like the old world attire, the old world clothing, the old time, old timey film aesthetics mixed with like more modern, more digital cameras. Like this was definitely filmed on film, but I think these are digital cameras that these guys are carrying around. Not the actual cameras, but the video cameras. I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm so shocked that this is taking place in 1993. Like, I'm just thinking about all the events that took place already. Like, the Berlin Wall already fell. Like, the world is in, like, scramble mode for sure. Like, this is, like, the geopolitical scramble. This is, the geopolitical post-Soviet scramble, I feel like, is what we're witnessing right here, where everyone is just trying to shore up all their friendships with anyone else that they're friends with.
The Prime Minister inspects an impressive...
It's so funny that, like, the Prime Minister of India is meeting the king or whoever of Oman, and maybe the Sultan of Oman, that's what I'll say. And, like, all the attire is still Western, and all the music and, like, fanfare is Western as well. Like, it's just, like, it's not Omani instruments. It's, like, trumpets and, like, snare drums and whatever. And it's, like, men in uniforms that are pretty European-inspired, I would say. Like, there's a lot of Western influence in this meeting taking place between two people who are both considered outside of the Western cultural realm. So a lot of interaction here, a lot of socio-cultural interaction, and even technological interaction, right?
Guard of Honor, presented by the Royal Guard.
Dude, the music that they started playing while showing the guys from Oman, like, I love how India also has, like, oh, this is the music that we play for other sorts of people. Like, the very clear musical tone shift that we just witnessed right there for the other sorts of people who are going to be at this meeting. It's a very, very clear cue, right?
Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao is introduced to a host of...
Dude, I love the freaking turban, like traditional garb mixed with the sunglasses. Like the aviator sunglasses with the rest of the fit is just so good. It's just exactly what I want. If I ever go to Oman or the Middle East, this is like how I want to be dressed.
dignitaries, including members of the royal family and ministers.
Yeah, you can tell this is more modern just because of how dogged these cameras are onto them. Like, these cameras are just getting everywhere they want. Like, I feel like there wasn't such a tradition to have cameramen at events like this all the way back in when most of these programs were watched. But it looks like, yeah, this is definitely a televised event now. It's so funny. It's so funny to think of all the millions of Indian people that might have been watching this through the camera that we're looking at right now.
Indo-Omani relations go back several hundreds of years.
Indo-Omani relations go back several hundreds of years. That is interesting because that is true. Like, the Indians were definitely sailing and trading throughout the Indian Ocean, and so were the Omanis. The Omanis actually operated a very significant maritime empire throughout the Indian Ocean as well. So they might have not only interacted, but they might have actually like competed with one another like very heavily for a time. I don't know if that's really going to influence their relationship going forward, but I think that is interesting that these two civilizations were both perched on the Indian Ocean and definitely had like very historic ties with one another. I'm curious about that actually. I wonder how much interaction they had in the historical times.
Ever since the 7th century AD.
7th century AD. That's so funny that's not earlier, to be honest. Like, I feel like you could make the claim that they've been interacting ever since people had been on either side of those waters. But I guess 7th century AD is what we're going with.
Omani ships have regularly called at Indian ports.
Dang, that must hurt that, like, the Omanis came to India. Like, that's how the interaction started. It wasn't the other way around. Like, the Indians didn't, like, land on the Omani shores. The Omani traders found India. Like, that's, that is interesting. But it's interesting also that they admitted that. Like, that's not a point of pride or shame. It's just like, yep, that's the historical, context.
Vasco da Gama rounded the Cape of Good Hope in 1498. He was guided by the famous Omani navigator, Ahmed bin Majid, in finding a sea route to India.
Hang on, that's interesting. So they're talking about somebody sailing around the Cape of Good Hope from India using an Omani navigator as like that's the discovery of the route to India, not the Portuguese sailing. I mean, I guess the Portuguese discovered that probably in like the 1400s, 1500s, maybe, yeah, 1500s. So if this really did take place in the 700s or whatever, yeah, right, the 700s, 7th century maybe is what they said. Maybe that would be a lot sooner, but I don't know.
Families from the Kutch region of Gujarat have had close trade.
Yeah, I feel like Gujarat, right? That's one of the states that's like completely on the west of India, on the coast, right? That's where the little weird peninsula on that side of India is, right? Gujarat. I feel like that's where you're going to get a lot of Omani Indian influxes, where you have that maritime area.
Links with Oman for the last 250 years. And the sultans have always been favorably disposed towards Indians.
I wonder how much truth there is to that, too. The sultans of Oman have always been favorable towards the leaders of India. Like, is that really true, or is that just like, I don't know, Indo-Oman Amity talking?
When the present ruler, Sultan Qaboos bin Sayyid Al Sayyid, took over in 1900.
Yeah, these are both very modern-looking flags, so...
70, only 2 missions were allowed in the capital city of Muscat. Those of India and the United Kingdom.
Wow, that's interesting. Not even the US. So when Oman really first started, it was just UK. I guess the UK kind of probably forced their way in. I wonder how much India benefited from getting to sort of ride the coattails of British colonialism. Like it helped them step into the systems that the British left behind in a way. I'm very curious about that. I don't think we're going to get into that with this program, but that's an interesting idea to say the least. How India's like diplomacy followed suit behind the British. There's a lot to be said about that, I think, actually.
Time now to head for the city and the Indian school at Darset.
Wow, this is actually like a very nice looking city. Is this Muscat? It must be, right? Like that hotel that we just passed. I don't know. Like I'm very impressed with like actually how new everything looks. I guess this was like the remodernization time, so it would make sense that there was a lot of new construction. But there's no like cranes or everything. Like it looks like everything was recently constructed, but also like just finished. You know, there's no more construction taking place. So this is, I don't know, it looks like an actually nice city to live, which I might not have been expecting going into this. But look at those desert mountains. Like, even though it might look nice, I bet it's hot year round here, but I bet it's nice. Is there anyone from Muscat? Probably not. But is there anyone familiar with Muscat, maybe, who like knows where this is? I'm always so interested in that. Again, this is from the 90s, so I guess it's not that crazy if you know where this is, you know, compared to modern times. But I would still be interested by that. Like, do all these buildings still exist? They must, right? Like, nothing would have destroyed them.
Unlike other GCC countries, which were till this century desert areas populated by nomadic Bedouins, Oman has been an established political entity for more than 1800 years.
1800 years. Yeah, I guess Oman was its just own thing. That's like, I feel like nobody appreciates that Oman was like its own country, its own sultanate, its own like empire at a certain point even. Like there is a lot more history to Oman that's completely unrelated to like the rest of the Arabian Peninsula, honestly, that like does make Oman a very interesting character in this part of the world. I'm curious about this music too. Is this like the Indian perception of Middle Eastern music, or is this just like Indian music that they think fits the vibe? I don't know. I'm curious. Indian school at Muscat. Interesting. So there are schools funded by India or like supported by India in some means, or are just about teaching people about India maybe? I don't know.
The visiting Indian Prime Minister and his delegation arrive at the Indian school at Darset.
The Indian school. So, like, what do you learn at the Indian school, may I ask? What are the lessons being taught at Indian school, please? I love how it's all in English, by the way. Like, Indian school Muscat welcomes, blah, 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 in English. You know, that's not even in, like, the traditional Hindi language. It's in English. Like, that's the language that both of these countries use to interface with one another. Like, I again, like, a lot to be said about, like, the English history that remains between these two countries.
The school, built on land donated by the Sultan, has over 6,000 students on its rolls.
6,000 students built by the Sultan of Oman himself. So this must be like a college or something, right? This can't just be like a daycare or like an elementary school. This must be like a university of some kind. But I love how they shortened the phrase honorable prime minister into honorable prime minister. Just like they couldn't have included what? Like 2 more letters, the O and the R. It had to be an apostrophe. It's just like, why would they skimp on the one big sign that they have for the prime minister? Like, they couldn't have fit those 2 extra letters in that phrase. Like, I really think they could have. Oh, hang on. So this is the guy though. So it's Shri P.V. Narasimharo. All right, so that's the Prime Minister of India, I think. Shri P.V. I'm not going to even try it, but I bet this guy is very well known to my Indian viewers.
Conduct special courses for handicapped children.
Oh wow, handicapped children. See, that is like so much more progressive than I actually thought it would be. Oh, you can actually see honorable spelled out entirely as well. And it actually is more than O and an R. I guess there's a British U in there as well. That's funny. I guess I should have been able to expect that, but I just didn't think of it. Foundation stone laid on June 14th, 1993. Dang, that's crazy. By the Prime Minister of India, Honorable Prime Minister, for the new block of the Indian school. So, yeah, I'm so curious what is being taught at the Indian school. But all right, so that is one method India used to improve amity between it and Oman. It was clearly investing in some form of schools and education in the country, which I would not have really expected that investment and that sort of diplomacy to take place between these two countries. So this is already very interesting.
गण और प्यारे बच्चों, आज आप लोगों से मिलकर मुझे अत्यंत प्रसन्नता हो रही है.
Is there any chance that these Omanis understand him, or is the only language that they can use with each other English? Because I feel like no one's speaking Hindi in Oman. I don't know. Maybe they're learning, but I feel like English would be the language of choice here. I don't know.
आप लोग
Addressing the gathering after unveiling the foundation stone for a new block of the Indian school,
यहाँ के
Mr. Rao underlines the need for educational institutions to play a pivotal role in transforming India into a globally competitive modern economy.
So yeah, he's pretty much saying that India's method for developing in this time is to invest in education. So that is kind of the example that they're trying to set by investing in Omani education as well. I'm curious about this cornerstone though. If there is anyone in Muscat watching this video, try to find this cornerstone of whatever Indian university. I'm so curious if this plaque exists somewhere in Oman still to this day. I bet it does. I bet it would be a really difficult thing to find. Maybe not though. Oh man, that's the thing. It's definitely somewhere still.
India, he says, is fully equipped to meet the training requirements of developing nations and the Gulf states in frontier technologies.
That's interesting. So we've watched India in previous videos, previous programs, advance their technological base, right? And their manufacturing base and all that. And it seems like here they're wielding the power that gives them. In the previous programs, they've never actually fully been on their feet yet. Most of the stuff we've watched was India immediately after independence. But since this is from 1993, I guess this is when India was already on its feet and running again. So it's cool to see them using the manufacturing and technologies that we literally got to see them develop in previous programs, using those as diplomatic favors almost nowadays. That is very interesting.
कई लोग तो
Mr. Rao also suggests that Indian schools abroad should start technical courses which would benefit both Indian children as well as the local population.
Indian schools abroad should start doing technical work as well. That's what are these Indian schools? Are these schools for Indian people in Muscat? Because I know there were Indian people taken from, one side of India and brought here. So but that seems so weird. That seems weird that you would just build a school for specifically the Indian portion of another country's population at the same time. So I don't know.
कम नहीं है. मेडिकल कॉलेजेस में बाहर के लोग मौजूद हैं, इंजीनियरिंग में मौजूद.
What do you think the temperature in this room is right now? Do you think it's as unbearably hot as it looks?
हैं, पॉलिटेक्निक्स में मौजूद हैं और मांग ज्यादा हो रही है. और विद्यादान के लिए भारत का जो नाम है देश में, देश विदेश में,
there were people clapping, so maybe somebody does understand what he's saying.
भारत को गुरु मानते हैं. आज कई ऐसे देश हैं जहाँ के राष्ट्राध्यक्ष, जहाँ के प्रधानमंत्री, जहाँ के मंत्री, जहाँ के बड़े-बड़े साइंटिस्ट वगैरह ऐसे हैं.
I didn't understand a single word he said except for scientist. I actually love that. I love how you can speak in Indian, but when you need to use the term scientist, it reverts back to English. The term scientist entered the Indian lexicon through English. They didn't have a word for that sort of thing. And you can identify the word scientist even in the Indian speech, even though they're saying it sort of, in an Indian sort of way, because it's flowing into their language, you can still hear scientist specifically out of that phrase. I do think that's really interesting.
जिनको भारतीय शिक्षकों ने पढ़ाया है.
I literally just watched this guy speaking Hindi for 10, 20 straight seconds, no comprehension whatsoever, but I'm glad I got something out of that now.
तो ये जो हमारा स्थान है, गुरु का स्थान है और विद्यादाता का स्थान है.
Did he also say or? Is that I would love for the word or to have made it from English into Hindi. Maybe it's just the same in Hindi, or maybe it's just a similar meaning. I don't know. Hindi is technically related to Indo-European languages. So it would make sense if it was just the same phrase, but I would love if the word or made it from English into Hindi.
उस स्थान को हमें बनाए रखना है.
A delightful cultural program is presented by the school children.
Okay, hang on. So these are the school children. So these are children that apparently attend the Indian school, and it seems like they're pretty well versed in traditional Indian dance. This could be Omani dance, but I'm going to just make a guess and say this is Indian dance. And that's interesting as well. So they must be learning Indian cultural attributes in the Indian school of Oman, right? Like, what, is that what this Indian school is? It's just teaching these people like how to be Indian? I'm so curious. Maybe it's teaching women how to dance like Indian people. Maybe it's teaching the boys like other stuff. I can't imagine this class is a unisex class in this context. Maybe though, maybe there's gonna be a whole bunch of dudes who come out and dance after this. I don't know. So again, are these Omani girls doing a traditional Indian dance? Again, it's just the fascinating part comes from the intersection of two different cultures, right? They seem so similar, but yet, I don't know, they're obviously taking influence from one another, but at the same time, India and the Middle East are different places. So this is just such a fascinating combination of cultures right here. I bet somebody really skilled at the art of dance could be yeah, these girls are dancing Indian dances, but you can tell that they have Omani, I don't know, roots in dance. I don't know. I don't even know if they dance in Oman regularly. I don't know. This seems like such an interesting thing that somebody who knows more about dance could definitely speak a lot more on. Dude, I love that too. The cut to the musicians, the one guy on the drums, the traditional drums, and the other guy on a modern keyboard. Again, it's the intersections of the new and the old world right there. That is a perfect metaphor for what we're watching. These girls are dancing to half traditional instrumentation and half brand new modern electronic instrumentation. That's very fascinating. I guess it's all being played through these microphones onto speakers too. So yeah, a bit of a modern and a bit of the old as well. Dude, I bet the Indian people just loved seeing this when they got here too. They were just yes, they dance like us now. We're doing it. That's cultural colonization almost that they want to be witnessing of, right? Yeah, not the most engaged sort of crowd, actually. I'll take that all back. That crowd did not look like this was the most interesting thing in the world. The outfits they're wearing, though, the clothes, everything, it is so beautiful. Man, this is really nice traditional Indian garb. Or at least I perceive it as a traditional Indian garb. And it looks so cool. I really am a fan of this stuff. Though my question is how old are these girls? In another way, having a bunch of underage girls do a little dance for you is a really weird thing also for a diplomatic mission. I get it in this context. This is just a demonstration of the amity, I guess, between the two countries and how, some women from Oman have learned Indian dances, but in another context, having a bunch of young girls dance in front of you is kind of weird. I wonder if they're good. Like, I wonder if the Indian people watching this is oh wow, like they really are learning our culture, or if they're like, man, they're really not doing a good job. Like, I have no ability to discern the proper dance from the improper dance, so I might need to rely on my Indian viewers to inform me on that as well. But how are these girls doing? Are they doing a good job? Let me know. They seem like they're doing a good job. They at least know all the moves. They're not like in sync with one another, but I don't know how important that really is. Dang, the quick cut to that one woman who's just holding the Indian flag the whole time. I hope she learned that in school too. You know, I'm so interested by everyone clapping. Is clapping like a universal human thing to do in a crowd? Like, I just, what's the origin of crowds clapping? Is that like a cultural diffusion moment as well? Let me know. Dude, the cars, dude, oh man, like these cars are such an iconic 90s car too. I don't even know what they are. They look like some sort of Buick or something.
The elegant Al-Gubra guest house. Soon after his arrival here,
dude, I love the photograph framed against the curtains. Like, how do you even mount a photo against a curtain like this? Like, that's, I don't know, that's a cultural difference for sure. Like, in the West, you mount photos, like, on the wall. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but, like, there's no, like, just floating photographs.
Prime Minister Narasimha Rao is visited by eminent Indians, including representatives of the NRI Economic Forum, the Indian Cultural Association, and the management of Indian schools.
So yeah, this seems like a very important mission if there's all those upper level Indian officials. I mean, there could just be thousands of Indian officials, and these are just the ones that wanted to go. But it seems like they included the pertinent people to actually make some sort of diplomatic moves on this mission. What exactly those moves were, nobody's told me yet, but I'm curious still. Like, I'm curious as to the need for this mission, right? Like, why did India feel like they needed to shore up their friendship with the Omanis? Was it like access to oil somehow? I don't know if Oman really has that much oil comparative to the rest of the Middle East, but there's some reason behind all of this. I love how bored he looks too. Is this still the prime minister or is this somebody else? I think this is still the prime minister. He just looks so like tired and defeated. I don't know what the person just said to him, but like he does not look like he's had a very good time. Dude, I do want to go to a place like this, though. I'm so fascinated just by the shots of the mountains. Like, I just want to explore the nature here. I know that, like, there's pretty much no nature. It's just desert, but, like, there's some cool desert stuff, too. Trust me. Like, I can't wrap my head around living right next to desert mountains like this. Like, I mean, people do just live next to mountains, but it's such an exotic look to me. Like, I'm definitely romanticizing and exoticizing this place in my own mind. Oh, like this garden? See, that's what I want. I want to find like an oasis garden in the desert mountains. Like this is what I'm in. This is what I'm in here for. Dude, the architecture is so awesome too. Can you go to Oman? I think you can, right? Oman is like one of the safe Middle Eastern countries. Like, I might have to try because there's definitely a part of Oman that I want to go to. I've made a video on it. It's all the way at the western edge of Oman, the Dhofar Mountains. So there's definitely an aspect of Oman that I want to see. And now that I'm seeing the main city of Oman, it might be a fun trip to go to Oman someday.
The Al Alam Palace, a symbol of incredible splendor and
dude, this is incredible splendor, actually. Like, this is impressive degrees of wealth and opulence on display right here.
grace.
Like, geez, look at those, like, pillars. This is pretty nuts. I want, like, a full shot of this building, like, not just the doorways or anything, because this is, like, a very, very unique building. Like, architecturally, this, I don't even have the language to describe this architecturally. Like, there are columns, but, like, I don't even know what word I would use for these sorts of columns. Like, this is a very interesting architectural feat right here.
His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin...
This is Sultan Qaboos. I like that a lot. Sultan Qaboos. So this guy is like the actual leader of Oman. Wow. Dang, so he didn't even meet the prime minister? Like, he's been somewhere else this whole time? Or was he with him? Or he's just meeting the prime minister now? I like that he has his little dagger on him. That's definitely like an Omani thing, right? To have the dagger on you. Like, this guy is like dressed up to a T in Omani traditional garb. You know, like this is the most respect the Omani Sultan can show to the Indian Prime Minister is by wearing this clothes right here.
The Prime Minister of India, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao.
Narasimha Rao is what she said. P.V. Narasimha Rao. All right, I'm never gonna remember that, but at least I said it correctly once. So Sultan Qaboos, which I'm pretty sure that's what she said. I don't want to just be mispronouncing both of these guys' names, but I'm pretty sure she said Sultan Qaboos. Interesting again that they shook hands. Like, were people shaking hands before the British? I don't know. Dude, this is like so cool. I love getting these glimpses of like other worlds, pretty much. Like the world of Oman in 1993 is just so different. Like the clothes that everyone is wearing, it's so fascinating. I don't even know if I really have a good comment for this. This is why everyone says mean things in the comments about me, because I have to interject everywhere just to tell you how cool everything is that we're seeing. Like this doorway even, like, oh man, like it's all so cool. There's so much artistry in like every aspect of this society still. It's so interesting to see. Dang, hang on. Is this like a 3-4 story chandelier? Like there's multiple stories to this one chandelier. This is crazy as well. Now, I bet this palace is still here. Like, this is still... does Oman still have a sultan? I bet they do, right? I bet there still is... They are either, like, a political entity or, like, some sort of figurehead. Like, I bet this is still, like, the sultan's meeting room or whatever. Look at all the gold, though. Just, like, pay attention to all the gold everywhere in this room. I would say this is all real gold, probably. I would not say this is, like, plastic spray-painted gold. I really doubt that. I have to imagine that nothing but the real thing is good enough for the Sultan of Oman. So just, keep in mind the dollar value of the frame on screen. Like, try to calculate, like, how much wealth are we looking at literally just right here. Like, this is probably several thousands of dollars, if not more. Which is, again, like, that's part of the flex of bringing somebody to your country, is to show them all your nice stuff. So this is very much the Sultan of Oman trying to flex on the Indians.
The Sultan and the Indian Prime Minister discuss bilateral relations and other subjects of common concern.
I'm always so curious what happens in these sorts of conversations, right? Like, you see two politicians sitting in chairs facing away from one another all the time and them actually talking. Like, how much actually can get said in these discussions, Like, if I were in one of their positions, I would be talking so fast and trying to get so much done. Like, it seems like such a difficult method of communicating to somebody, like, your actual intentions, when you're sitting in a gold room on a gold throne. Like, just to talk shop with somebody seems so difficult, but like, that's kind of what you need to do. This is the prime minister and the sultan. Like, they need to assure that their countries are friends with one another, and so they have to be friends with one another. It's such a high stakes conversation, right? Like, maybe they can't even talk to each other, but maybe they can. It's just like, man, there's so much going on. There's so many stakes. I don't know, this is such an important meeting that, like, it really is. So, I don't know, I would be anxious, to say the least, sitting in these chairs.
The 90-minute long talks.
90 minutes. All right, so that's interesting. So they get to speak to each other for 90 minutes. That I feel like enough can be said in 90 minutes, actually. Do you think they get bored and never stop, or do you think it's like a full-on 90 minutes, like they ask for 5 minutes more afterwards? Probably that, right? Like I would hope that they have so much to talk about that they would never run out.
Result in complete satisfaction on both sides and agreement on all matters.
You can very clearly see them communicating just with each other. It doesn't even look like they have a translator. So what are they speaking? Are they speaking English? Are they speaking Hindi? Are they speaking Arabic? What are they speaking?
As a gesture of goodwill, India has decided to gift Oman a 4-kilowatt solar power project worth 25 lakh rupees to set up a remote Omani village.
I like how they said the dollar value or the lakh value of the gift that they gave Oman. Like they had to say the price of it as specifically. Like like this guy's sitting in a literal room decked out in gold and they're talking about like the price of like a one gift, you know? Like it's just like don't worry about the price of it. It's not about the price. This guy has mountains of gold. Like it's more about the gesture, you know?
As a gesture of goodwill, India has decided to gift Oman a 4-kilowatt solar power project worth 25 lakh rupees.
A 4-kilowatt something. So I think it's some means of generating electricity, I have to imagine. Which is also like kind of a flex. If you enter somebody's like golden palace and there's no electricity, like I guess that is like the old rich and the new rich, you know, like access to all this gold or access to electricity. That is a very interesting trade to be made, I guess.
To set up a remote Omani village.
Just one Omani village just randomly is gonna get like a generator or whatever they described. Like there's one village that has access to electricity now. That is kind of funny.
June, Al Gubra Guest House. Prime Minister Narasimha Rao has a series of meetings with the Deputy Prime Minister for Financial and Economic Affairs, the Minister for Petroleum and Minerals, and the Minister for
Petroleum and Minerals. Hang on. So I think we might be actually getting onto something. So yeah, they're trying to figure out their economic ties to one another, how much they invest in one another, and it wouldn't hurt so much if we also heard about how much oil you guys have.
Agriculture and Fisheries.
And fisheries. See, I feel like that does make sense too. I guess there probably are international waters that they have to share.
The two nations hold talks to strengthen bilateral trade and economic cooperation and to finalize a $5 billion, 1,450-kilometer-long undersea gas pipeline from the Gulf to Gujarat.
Really? Dang, that sounds like crazy. I guess this is a bit more modern, but like 40 billion gas pipeline. See, again, it was all about the gas, wasn't it? I feel like I already did say that, but yeah, it was about the gas. Don't get me wrong. But they were building an underwater pipeline. Did they build it? Is that like still in place? Is there just a pipeline running from Oman straight to India? I'm so curious about that. And that sounds like a very expensive project. But I guess honestly, if I were Omani and I could open up a new market like India for my oil, like, yeah, it's worth probably any investment you could ever make into it. You know, like there is such a demand for oil in India that like you are going to profit from that no matter what.
Consequent to these talks,
dude, the dagger, oh man, so sick. I want to see that dagger.
India and Oman agree to accord each other the most favored nation status.
Most favored nation status. So they are calling each other pretty much best friends. Is there a list of best friends, or do you only get one best friend in a country context? Like, is India saying Oman is their one, like their ride or die? Or are they just saying, hey, you're in like our inner circle? I think it's probably just your inner circle, right? I can't imagine. I mean, I guess India wouldn't be friends with Pakistan or Bangladesh at this time. Maybe, but like, I don't know. I don't think India is ride or die Pakistan or vice versa. If they were ride or die each other, they'd be the same country. So I have to imagine that they have another group of inner friends. I feel like, yeah, Oman and maybe the UK are like in India's closest circle. I wonder if Indo-Oman relations are still this good. Like, is India still like best buds with Oman, or does this relationship matter a lot less now to them. Like, like I wonder if India has diversified its diplomacy to the point where they don't really care about Oman. It's not that they don't care, but they don't need to pull out all the stops and invest in Omani education in order to get their way. I wonder.
3 major agreements on economic cooperation are signed between India and Oman on the second day of Prime Minister Narasimha Rao's visit. The agreement on hydrocarbons.
Hydrocarbons, again, the agreement on hydrocarbons. Like I should have known. I guess I did know. It was all about those hydrocarbons.
Sealed by Minister of State for External Affairs R.L. Bhatia and his Omani counterpart Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah seeks to promote and facilitate investment in this sector.
Yeah, I guess it must be difficult, right? When you have oil, but you lack the technological prowess to actually make good on it. It must be like everyone is trying to get your oil, so who do you sign up with to actually extract and refine your oil, right? And I guess the Omanis probably didn't want the British doing it, or Americans, maybe. I guess it's the 93, so the Americans would have been interested in it. It's a very purposeful diplomatic move to sign this sort of thing with India rather than, another perhaps more powerful nation at this time. Not that India wasn't powerful. I guess India probably was more powerful than the UK by this point.
The Joint Commission set up under the Accord on Economic Ties will be headed by the Commerce Ministers of the two countries. The accord is concluded by Minister of State for Commerce Kamaluddin Ahmed and the Omani Minister for Commerce and Industry Maqbool bin Ali bin Sultan.
Wow, so yeah, that was just them both signing papers saying they were going to be best buds. That is fun. Yeah, I'll be your best friend so long as you give me some of your oil. Like, that's kind of what this seems like.
The Memorandum of Understanding formalized on fertilizers by Fertilizer Secretary P.B. Krishnaswamy and
Fertilizer Secretary. I guess you do need oil to make fertilizer, so it's just like very interesting. I would never have expected there to be a fertilizer secretary.
Omani Petroleum Minister Syed bin Ahmed Al-Shanfari.
Petroleum Minister. See, there's very interesting job titles being read off right now.
Is for establishing a joint venture ammonia-urea project in Oman based on natural gas. The project will be executed by the state-owned Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers Limited and Krishak Bharati Cooperative Limited and the Omani government as well as the Oman Oil Company.
I am actually very proud of myself for guessing that this was all about oil, because that's what we're very clearly seeing right now. This was very much about natural gas and oil for sure.
Later in the day, the Prime Minister meets distinguished members.
I love how they just have their guns framed up on the wall like that. Like that's that's a statement as well.
Of the Omani business community, as well as leading Indian businessmen. The Indian community here is estimated to comprise over 280,000 and forms around 53% of the foreign nationals in Oman.
Hang on, so there's about 280,000 Indian people living in Oman during this point, and that makes up over 50% of the foreign people in this country. So I wonder what percent of the actual country's population are Indian by this point. But that is very interesting. I feel like I did mention that earlier, that there could be Indian people brought over here from the British colonial project, or maybe even after that, just for work and stuff. So that is very interesting to think that there was a significant population of Indian people in this country at the time. Again, is that the purpose of the Indian school? Is it people who are traditionally Indian getting a traditional Indian education even though they're in Oman? Or is it Omani people being given education by Indian people? I'm still so curious. I have to think it's the former rather than the latter.
Apart from Arabic and English, which are widely spoken, Indian languages like Hindi, Gujarati and Malayalam are also fairly well understood and spoken in Oman. Mr. Dharam
That's
Singh.
crazy. That's crazy that there's like not only like the one Indian language is like well known or spoken, but like several other of the other. I guess Gujarati makes sense, right? But like I don't know. It seems like so wild to think that you could go to Oman and speak Gujarati to somebody. Maybe not. Maybe that's just my American mind having difficulty comprehending that sort of stuff. But that seems pretty wild.
Nancy, a noted businessman, migrated to Oman way back in 1926 and is the recipient of one of the highest civilian awards of the Sultanate of Oman.
Is this like a museum exhibit? Like this is a kind of weird conference room. Like there's just like empty white walls with like a few rugs plastered onto the sides of them. Like this is like this little plant, this sad plant in the background. This looks like an office conference room or something. Dude, there's something about like gardens in the desert that's just like so beautiful to me. Like these flowers, like I really do appreciate that aesthetic. And the music, man. Like I love this music as well. What an interesting little spot. So there's just like this pagoda or whatever in the middle of this like concrete slab. I don't even know what's going on now.
16th June, and a highly successful tour comes to a close.
Oh, this is the 16th of June, so they're leaving now. Interesting. So that was the mission. That was what took place. They went to the Indian school, saw the girls dance, signed some papers on some oil or whatever, and now we're out of here. Like, I wonder what the priorities were.
The Prime Minister's visit has not only strengthened the already cordial relations between the two nations, but opened up exciting avenues of cooperation for the future.
I wonder how far they pursued this relation. Like, I really have no concept of India's relationship with Oman outside of this program. But I wonder if they are like secretly best buds still. I hope so. I hope they are. I hope there's just like that connection across the ocean. Dude, I love how they decorate their planes too. Like the little decals they put around the windows to just make them look like Mughal architecture inspired. Like, I really like that actually. Again, I love the intersection between like Indian traditional art and like modern technology, right? Like we're applying this old art form or the shape of these old art pieces to this new piece of art, I guess, or new piece of technology. Oh, that was the end? Dang, I was not expecting just an immediate end like that. But you know what? I'm jamming out to this music, so let's watch all the credits. So the photography and direction was by Deepak Haldankar. Good for him. Honestly, I didn't want to say it, but some of the photography, a lot of those shots were not perfectly level is all I gotta say on the photography. But all around, he did get some good shots. That was definitely a good showing on his part. Sound by K.A. Padmanabhan. Why are all Indian names like so many letters long? Like it's not even that it's like a difficult thing to say. It's just so much to say at once that it's hard to actually get right. So sound, K.A. Padmanabhan and H.S. Neelakanta. Music. Oh, this is what I wanted to know. The music is by K. Narayanan. I wish I could have some of his instruments. Editing. Okay, Krishna Rao and Murlidhar Basul. Okay. I really hope you guys are not offended by me mispronouncing these. I am trying my best, and that's all I can do. I'm trying at least to give the people who worked on this the credit they deserve. So words, English. Luku Saniyal were the words. So that's who wrote this, or that's who narrated it? I can't see. That's what's difficult is I don't know. I think this is who narrated it. Luku almost feels like a female name, which I think is who was narrating this, right? A woman. So I think this was who narrated it. Luku Sanyal. Production Krishna Mohan. I feel like Krishna Mohan is a name I've been seeing in these productions like ever since their very beginning. I don't know if this is like the same Krishna Mohan, but there's definitely these two names definitely appear in these programs all the time. And there you go, the end. News magazine. All right, that was interesting. That was Strengthening Indo-Oman Amity. So we got a pretty good sense of what international diplomacy looked like, not from an American perspective or anything, but just from a purely international perspective. Like two countries meeting that I have like no relation to whatsoever and trying to get along through their shared common history and cultures and traditions. That was very interesting. You don't really get to see the diplomatic missions of other nations that much, or you don't really pay attention to the diplomatic missions of other nations. Like I bet 0 Americans cared at all about, Indian-Omani amity during the making of this. Like this is something only for the benefit of India and Oman. And I think it's interesting to see how these states operate for their own self-benefit, which is, pretty similar to how any other state would operate in this day and age. But it is interesting to see how their cultures come together to form some sort of amity between them. It really is. The amity is definitely the word of the day. Yeah, ultimately, I think the ultimate takeaway from this, though, was the amity was only there because the Indians wanted the Omani oil. Like, can we just all agree, like, that is, at least they were friends before the oil, but at least this mission was definitely about the oil. And I feel like that, again, reveals something about these two countries and how they interact with one another. Now you understand better their relationship and why they have it, which, again, very interesting. I feel like we learned a lot. I don't know how important this relationship is in modern geopolitics. I don't know if that pipeline is still supplying India with like a crap load of oil or something, but for a time this was a significant diplomatic step, and that's why this whole program was made, to illustrate that India was, making friends and acquiring acquiring access to new resources by doing so. Like that's definitely what this is all about, to bolster the Indian position in the international stage pretty much. And I feel like any Indian person watching this would definitely feel like they got what they wanted out of this. They got to see India be friends with somebody and, get access to new resources. So definitely from the Indian perspective, this was a good watch. From an American or international perspective, this was even more interesting, I would say. But overall, very enjoyable. I feel like I understand the relationship held between these two countries a lot more now, even though I don't fully understand either of their histories at all yet. But I think I understand how they work together now. So I think that's where we're going to leave it. If you enjoyed watching and you would like to help support what I do here, you can follow the link in the description that'll take you over to the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive is where I get all these old programs. So if you want to support me and what I do here, go donate to them. And with that, I think we're ready to cut to black.